Greetings, fellow traders. How are you doing today? Hope your Thursday is going great for you. It is September 7th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Coming at you here, forexsignals.com, Forex TV. Got some added functionality to the site. I'll just go over that for maybe 30 seconds here while people are tuning in here. If you refresh the page, or if you've logged in the last few hours, you can see the global news stream on the left beneath the podcast button. And hey, Knight. Hey, Chris288. Nice to see you. Global news stream. If you click on that, you'll see a whole host of Twitter feeds that come out. Will just added that in. He's an amazing web programmer. And apparently it's only like 0.2 or 2 milliseconds after it actually shows up live on Twitter. Really cool stuff. So just some extra functionality here for you at Forex Signals. Will's doing a great job programming everything. U.S. stock market sort of mixed today. S&P down 0.4. I mean, basically flat, right? 0.02% down. The Dow was down 22 points and the NASDAQ was up 4 points. So basically a flat day. We sort of dropped off in the beginning, recovered, dropped down, recovered at the end. Pretty flat day overall. Of course, we had the ECB press conference going on earlier this morning. That was at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, and the unemployment claims out of the U.S. A lot of volatility out of the euro. I'm sure all of you who are into trading know that happened earlier today. The unemployment claims, though, out of the U.S., if I do a quick toggle over there to show you, I was sort of surprised at these numbers here. It's sort of, for most of the blogs I read and the news that I follow, it sort of got tossed to the side with all the ECB stuff going on. But if you take a look at this number, that's huge. 298,000 unemployment claims. That's basically the highest that we've had since March of 2015. So definitely not good news there. If you zoom way out on the histogram, you can see sort of where we stand with that little bit of data going back. So I mean, we're still in good shape as far as unemployment claims go compared to where we were way back. Hopefully you can see that there. But if we zoom it in, huge number there. It was definitely important news, but it wasn't as important to the Forex markets as the ECB press conference. Let's get over to this. How's it going, Yo-Yo Julman? Nice to see you all. I'm going to stop this here. Close this. All right, so what do we have going on? Crude oil inventories coming out. Actually, that was already... I'm just too zoomed in here. Let me zoom out here. Crude oil inventories came out just a little bit more than expected, 4.6 million barrels. We have minor news out of Australia in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And then RBA Assistant Governor DeBell speaks. Now, I'm not that familiar with Assistant Governor DeBell. They have it as a moderately important news event at 10 p.m. So that's about 2 hours from now, as well as the Chinese trade balance, which could affect the Australian currency. And then overnight, sort of interesting. RBA Governor Lowe speaking at 3:30 a.m. That's going to be interesting to see how that affects the Australian currency, as well as manufacturing production month over month out of Great Britain. And then tomorrow morning, unemployment change and unemployment rate and employment change out of Canada. Those numbers are predicted to be somewhat stable. I don't think we're going to see a huge shock there. But if you're in any trades with the pound or the Canadian dollar overnight, be a little bit wary of that. Just make sure you know that the news is coming out. I'll just take a little show. I'll show you this global news stream. Hopefully you can see it here. This is the global financial news stream. We stream industry-related news in real time from trusted sources. So they have Bloomberg here, Daily FX, Reuters, Zero Hedge, which has a crazy avatar, the guy with his abs sticking out. They have Bloomberg Business, Forex Live, Daily FX, Reuters, Live Squawk. So pretty good feeds here. I mean, basically doing the same thing, if not better, than what I like to use as Financial Juice. So might be interesting to see how this propagates out. And we'll also mention that he's going to have this news stream available to be seen in real time as the live streams are going on, so you can actually see it in real time. We also have the podcast here, and if you play a podcast, it'll shrink down to the bottom and you can listen as you're going through the site. So we have the interview that I did with Steady Capture a while back, and I just did a really good, I think, interesting interview with the guy behind Revolution Strategy. And there should be a thread on the Forex Signals forum for him soon. And just a really, really cool guy. His name is Andrew, also Andrew G. And cool guy. So that's another strategy that the guys here at Forex Signals are vetting out to see as possibly adding it to the managed account. So a lot of great information coming out. I'm also going to be interviewing, let's see, where is it? Ryan. I wanted to show you the winners from this last month in August. As long as I happen to be on the page here, I'm going to be interviewing Ryan on Monday. I think he's traveling right now. And I'm still waiting to hear back from ALES and Ford FX Trader. So if you're watching this stream or you're watching the recording later, let me know. I sent them all a message. And, you know, we want to get, it's nice to have all the top 3 every month do a little interview so we can glean some information from them. Top Trader contest for September is well underway. See some familiar names in the top 10, but also some new names. Interesting stuff indeed. So let's get over to the charts. Let's get down to business, making money. And like I always try to do, I will show you where I've been and what I'm looking at and where I'm going in the Forex market. So just a quick flash at the momentum meter. I won't spend a lot of time here. USD is under a lot of pressure, as is the Australian currency, Japanese yen, pound, you know, a lot of downward momentum from the 20 moving average. We still see the Canadian dollar up high, and the second highest that's peaking up here is New Zealand. And I'll show you what's interesting about that next, at least in my account. And that is this. Let me get this toggle back here. Where's the button? There we go. So I posted one trade idea today. I was going to buy the Aussie dollar, but you know, I just was having trouble finding a really good trade idea. You know, the goal that I have is 5 trade ideas a week. Some weeks I do 3, some weeks I do 6, but I try to get at least 5 good trade ideas a week out. I'm not just going to put out junk just to have a trade idea out there. And I tried to find the best trade that I could. And the trade idea that I posted here an hour or 2 ago, maybe a couple hours ago, was a short on the Aussie New Zealand. This is a pair that I don't trade very often. However, we're seeing some strength come out of the New Zealand currency, and of course weakness coming out of the Australian currency, and we're quite toppy. Now, this is obviously a contrarian trade. There's a super strong uptrend going on, but you might remember a few days ago I was talking about these levels here that we've seen in the past. Now, this is going back all the way to 2000 and what do we have? 2014 here, 2015 here, 2016 here. And we were trying to decide if it's going to poke up above the 110.18 level and then push back down. So what I think might happen in the Aussie New Zealand, and I'm confident enough to put the trade on myself, is that we're going to see a little bit of a retracement. Now, I don't know if we're going to make it all the way down to the target that I have down here or not. But in the trade idea, I believe I posted that if the trade gets halfway or so to the target, I'm going to pull the stops down a little. Might not be quite to break even, but pull the stops down a little bit and possibly add another order to the downside. You can see where my levels are right now. I'll just put my entry over here so you can see the level roughly. So this trade is up around 25 pips or so. I posted the trade idea right in real time, but I think I was 6 or 7 pips behind. So I was already in a little bit of profit when I posted it, but it's the quickest I could get it out. This trade has a roughly 48 pip stop and about a 78 to 80 pip profit target. And so I'd like to get the profit. I'd like to get the price down somewhere in this area. we'll just give it a thumbs up. Somewhere in this area here, just looking at the charts technically, somewhere around 110.70s. And then I would be happy to pull my stops down at that point. And then the target, of course, is down in this area. So the thumbs up here for whatever reason, that's just a reminder for me to pull my stops down in that zone, and then possibly add another entry. And maybe this will turn out to be the trade of the year. Who knows? I mean, you just don't know. I don't know for sure. But pulling the stops down right now might not even be the worst idea. But I'm just going to give it a little bit more room. I mean, we're currently 70 pips or more away from the stop loss. So if we start to push up higher, this trade could be turning around the other way. All right. Let's see. Julian says it's lagging in here. Let's take a look. I noticed on Tony's stream earlier today it was lagging as well. I think it looks okay. Yeah, the stream health is good. My software, OBS, is good. YouTube says stream health is good. Yeah, so feel free to refresh it. I think it's Control F5. Yeah, Julian, try YouTube. There you go. Dollar CAD. Oh, good. It's fine now. Okay, good. Yeah, you know what, Julian, you bring up a good point. Just a few days ago, the input was passed on down from the higher ups here at Forex Signals that the YouTube feed that I watch myself when I'm not able to be in front of my computer, all the videos are going to be unlisted from now on. We might just share 1 or 2 a week because we want to make sure the people in the room, whether you're here for free from back in the old days, or you're on a trial, or you paid, or whatever happened, that the content is here just for people who are in the room. So again, that was passed down from the higher ups. We're going to have the videos unlisted in YouTube, the live streams anyway. So we'll see how that transpires. You know, everything's open for change, but that's the way it's going to be for a while. I asked actually this morning, I was trying to get on to Tony's stream during ECB, and I only had my mobile, and I wasn't able to watch his video, and I couldn't just go onto the YouTube because it was unlisted. So with that being said, I have a short on Aussie New Zealand. That's a trade idea that I posted. I am currently riding the nice train down on dollar yen. I'd like to show you what I did here. I know that when I watch live streams, I watch them, but I also do other things. But just for a moment, I want to pull your attention here to the dollar yen. So I sold here and closed before non-farm on Friday and took out about 13 pips. Waited for the market on Sunday to gap down, come back up, not closing the gap, but getting in a good enough point of consolidation from previous price action where I took another sell order. And I had a sell on the pound yen, euro yen, and dollar yen. And I decided to let this one run quite a ways. I pulled my stops down and took 80 pips or so off. And that was what was that here? A 1.7 lot order. So nice trade there. You know, gave back some of the profit, but letting it move, letting it breathe a little bit. And what I did then is after it pushed up this 30 pips, I sold again right at basically the same price that I closed out before. And now this trade is currently up another 70 some pips. And my stop is pushed down to about 108.60, which locks me in 45, 46 pips. And I'm just going to be watching on what to do next. Now, we're obviously at an area of support here at 108.20s, 108.28. You know, you can see the swing low over here, probably just behind my video right there. All right. So my plan, since we've broken down beneath the support level, and we don't have a really strong support level coming up other than the wick here at 108.13 or so that was put in April. I'm going to try to let this trade on dollar yen run south. So my plan after this stream is done, depending on what happens with the dollar yen, if it continues to push down, as you can see, it's still, you know, slowly making lower highs, is to pull my stop loss down a bit and let this thing run overnight and see how it transpires. Because it's already risk-free trade, not only risk-free, but 40 some pips of profit. My stop is currently about 30 pips away, 32 pips away. So I'm going to let this thing run. You can see the nice trend that we've had, you know, basically almost a straight line down on the dollar yen. And I feel good about how I've traded this. We had the sell. I think I posted the sell on pound yen, but not on dollar yen, Sunday night, Monday morning this week. So I had 1, 2, 3 winners in a row, and we'll see how big this last winner is. And the other trade that I have is Euro Aussie. Now, this trade I'm a little bit mixed on. I just want to be honest with all of you, like I always am. I'm a little bit mixed on this Euro Aussie sell. I put my stop up a little ways. You know, it's 50 pips up, giving it some room here. But I generally, you know, my strategy of trading, at least when I'm doing these live streams and trading off the hourly, doing these sort of intraday swing trades type of arrangements, I'm not scalping short term. I like to be, you know, correlating with my other trades. So right now, with my sell on Aussie New Zealand, which is doing very well here, and we're basically we're almost to the point I wanted to get at, right? The 30-minute chart. I like to, if I'm going to be selling the Aussie and buying New Zealand, I like to be selling the Aussie in other pairs as well. So I don't like to buy it on one and sell it on the other. A lot of traders don't care. They just trade the charts or the fundamentals, whatever it is. I like to be, you know, I do better over the last several years since I've been trying to always trade the same direction. However, after looking at charts for all these years, there's just something that's telling me that the Euro Aussie should roll over a little bit. Now, I didn't post this as a trade idea because I'm not quite as positive about it as I am on the Aussie New Zealand, but I just want to share it with you nonetheless, that I have a trade short on the Euro Aussie. I know my chart's a little shrunk down here. Let me pull it back. And my stop level, if you are in a trade like this selling the Euro Aussie, my stop's at 49.75 or so. And my entry is down at 149.25. I don't have a target set up on this one to the downside yet, but it will definitely be more than my stop, which is 50 points. So this is sort of a wishy-washy trade. As you may know, Euro Aussie is still my favorite pair to trade, but it's a little wishy-washy there. The other thing that I think deserves some attention is the dollar index. And then I'll take a look at the chat here. Dollar index is really pressing down. You can probably see it stuffed way down in the corner at 91.42. DXY or dollar index really falling. And if you look to the left, if you look left here on this chart on the weekly time frame, there is just nothing stopping this from falling lower. I mean, there's just nothing technically as far as support. It's just smooth sailing all the way down. If we zoom out real far on the monthly chart, the whole move that we had down, now I'm talking all the way back to 2001. So 16, 17 years downwards, we're coming up on the 38.2 fib here. We also have the next level of support coming in on the wick high that was roughly around March of 2009. So you really got to stretch things out to try to find the next level of support for the dollar. And if I shrink my chart down, this is the next level of support way down here, 89.63. Maybe this fib at 90.29, but that's a long ways down. So if you're on board with the dollar collapsing and falling apart, you have to be buying euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar. Pick your favorite. Okay? So, you have to decide what you want to do. Now, the ECB news, I didn't get a really clear feel. Let me show you the choppiness here. This was what happened earlier today with the ECB news conference and Draghi. And you can see we put up, higher lows all the way up, something like that. And now we're sitting in this highlighted area. And the reason I have this area highlighted is if we look to the left, this is an area of price confluence from previous, going back to August 29th, where we had the swing highs put in. Technically on the daily, you can see where we are here. We're in a strong uptrend. We're fighting against the pin bar that was put in here on August 29th, which could be possibly technical reversal. But we're sitting at 1.2031. Some of the traders in the room this morning were talking about the battle at 1.2, you know, the big psychological number. And I'm very mixed on this. I think the euro's overpriced. I'd like to be selling the euro pound, selling the euro Aussie. I think the euro is overdone, but the market's telling me the other way. So what I have to be able to admit is, you know, if my bias is wrong, it's wrong. You switch on the fly and go the other way if you have to, or you wait. And right now with the euro dollar, I'm just deciding to wait. If you look at the technical setup here, we have this rising trend line here on the euro buck, right? This rising trend line on the 4-hour. And we pushed up 100 and so pips from that area. And I'm just not convinced. I'm not a guy who buys at the tops and sells at the bottom. I don't do the breakout trading very well. So for me to buy the euro dollar right now, I'm just not very convinced. I would rather see the euro dollar, as I'm sure you can imagine, pop up above the highs that we have, about 120.70 or so, right up on the top here. I'd rather see the euro dollar just bust up and go without me, and then have it come back down into this zone 120.50, 120.70, and try to get long on the retest and continuation. So, you know, the thing about trading is I could be wrong, right? I could miss a big trade going to the upside here, but I'd rather just be a little bit more conservative because I already have enough trades going. I've already had a good week selling the yen pairs. That's basically all I've been doing, you know, this week is selling yen pairs, and been doing really well with that. So I'm not really aggressively trying to get into trades. So basically that's where I'm at. I wouldn't be selling euro dollar right now, of course, but I wouldn't buy until we get to 120.50, 120.70, break above, and then have a retest and continuation of that level. So just to give you a little bit more of a feel for that, I don't think it'd be very surprising for the euro dollar to break up and then push down somewhere into this zone and then continue up for a bigger push up again. So at this point, I'd be looking to get long, sort of like trading a head and shoulders pattern, right? I mean, the head and shoulders pattern is probably one of the most easily explained patterns. And trading on the neckline, you can either trade when the neckline breaks, or you can be more conservative and trade after the neckline breaks, it retests and continues. And for this trade, because I'm not a big fan of the euro dollar, I know it's the most commonly traded Forex pair there is. It has the highest liquidity of any currency pair that's on the market. I'm not real comfortable with it. So, you know, I'd rather stick to my euro pound or euro Aussie cross just for my own comfort level. But that's sort of the trade plan on the euro dollar. Looking for a break up above 2050, 2070, some consolidation maybe for a few hours, maybe a couple 4-hour candles if we're lucky, push back down to 2050, 2070, and then push up higher. All right. So this is the area that I'm looking to be interested in, right in here. I'm not going to trade the initial breakout if it happens. For contrarian traders, you know, coming up on some pretty good prices to sell, trying to sell this thing back down to the trend line, could have potential for a 80 to 100 pip move to the downside with a very tight stop, you know. But that's not the kind of trading I do right now, especially on a pair like the euro dollar. All right. I'm still very bullish on gold. I did take a scalp on gold on another account earlier today, but just for, I think $1.50 in the price. Very, very small. But gold is definitely still bullish in my mind. It's hard not to be bullish on gold. I mean, there's really not a lot of resistance coming up. And you might recall the last few streams that I did, and some of the chat in the room as well. I just repeated, anytime it retraces, it's a good time to get long. And of course, it retraced beautifully. Just perfect technicals right here. Resistance, resistance, came down, became support, pushed up. And the plan was to let it come below the black line, 1337, get long again, and it's just creeping its way up. Silver is sort of impressing me. I like trading silver more than gold. I haven't been in silver, though, for a couple of months, I think now. Silver's sitting up above 1810. And 18 is a big psychological level for silver. You can see that level right about here. We touched it, and then it came back up, retested, and now pushed up. I think that silver and gold are both going to move up. And here's the thing. We have no major news coming out of the U.S. for the rest of Thursday today and all of tomorrow, right? No major news. And if we see the unpredictable news, some North Korea stuff, we see some falling of the stock market. Maybe the storms that are coming with Hurricane Irma that's coming into Florida is worse than expected even. And there's some geopolitical unrest. Buying silver, buying gold, or selling the yen crosses, in my opinion, is the best place to be on if you're going with your trade plan and with the trend that you like. Because the worse news there is in the world, the better the trade's probably going to go. That's just the way it is. So those are my positions right now. Just to give you a refresh, if you're tuning in a little bit late before I look at the chat here, again, I have a short on Aussie New Zealand from the trade idea. I have a short on Euro Aussie, which I'm a little wishy-washy on. I like to be trading the Australian dollar in similar fashion, not buying on one pair and selling on the other. It's just not something I like to do. But I just have a feeling this might push down. So I took it. And the dollar yen, currently short on the dollar yen. And had one winner here, another nice winner here. And this one has 40 pips or so locked in. Currently up almost 70 pips, about 68 pips of profit. My stop's at 108.61, which locks in about 40 pips of profit. So those are the trades that I've been in the last few days and the trade that I'm in right now. And I touched a little bit on the reason why I'm not a fan of buying the euro dollar right now, and how I'd rather be possibly looking to get short in the euro pound. I was talking about selling the euro pound during the Asian session stream on Tuesday evening, right in this area, but I just was not convinced because this support level down at the bottom was pretty strong, and we were coming out with the ECB that's going to be coming out, and I just wasn't confident enough. And because of that, I saved myself some good pips. I mean, I would have been stopped out, 60 some pips to this top of this wick from where I would have been selling. So those types of things, knowing that I avoided a trade, knowing that I talked myself through the reasons why I shouldn't be in the trade, and then seeing the trade that would have gone bad that I wanted to take, and knowing that, I have the discipline and the patience to just wait, saved me some money. So it's nice to feel good about that. I mean, saving money. Now, though, it's a little different because the ECB announcement's done. We have, you can use your imagination here a little bit. We have this descending trend line on the euro pound hourly. We're putting in lower highs, even during the ECB news announcement. We did not take out the highs that were put in just a couple days ago. So I've been eyeing up selling the euro pound, and I like to be selling the euro pound when I'm selling the euro Aussie. So that's another reason why I was leaning towards shorting the euro Aussie. So to give you a long story short, I'm going to take a trade on the euro pound because I was going to do it after. And I'm just going to pull my stop up a ways, and then I'll polish up the trade a little bit afterwards. Put it at 92.18. So I'm going to take the euro pound short. I cut my lot size down just a little bit. If you're new to trading, please be aware that trading the euro pound has a higher pip value than some of the other currencies that are commonly traded, like the euro dollar. You can use a pip value calculator if you'd like. I'm going to pull up the one that I like to use. I've just used it for so many years that there's better ones I'm sure out there. Let me see here. Euro pound. What is it worth per pip right now? The euro pound is worth $13.10 per pip on a standard lot. So $1.30 on a 0.1 or a mini, and $13 a pip on a standard lot. All right. So I like being short euro pound and euro Aussie at the same time. Things have to line up. We have possible breakout coming on the euro dollar to the upside, so we have to be aware of that. The New Zealand dollar, which I rarely trade, has really pushed up a lot lately, which is one of the reasons why I looked at selling the Aussie New Zealand here. And that's about where I have it. So what do we got here? About a half hour of me giving you what we have. I see some news out of, let's see, ASB's latest commodity report says the New Zealand dollar is low compared to commodity prices. It's nice to see that kind of chatter there because we want to see the New Zealand stronger if we're selling the Aussie New Zealand, of course. All right, I'm going to take a look at the chat here. Use Periscope, yeah. I had a Periscope account for a while. Even mine is hanging here now. Oh, there we go. If you're new to the live streams, if they're ever hanging and sort of dragging, you can drag the little red, the little red, what do you call it? Time scale, I guess, all the way to the end. Thanks, Kiwi Shane. Nice trades. I like it. Tucson, TDR. What's going on, man? I haven't talked to you for a while. Looks good. I'm still short. If oil pops, then it's all over. DXY looks like dollar yen. It does indeed. Kitchi went short Aussie buck. James is dollar yen good for a buy. James 28. I'm on the sell train for the yen pair. So I think you're asking the wrong guy. Is this a good area to possibly be getting long on the dollar yen if you're looking to get long? Yeah, I think so because we're on the support area here, 108.13. We're bouncing off support. I mean, you can definitely pick a worse place to want to buy the dollar yen than right now. But I'm gonna keep my short bias. Again, my stop is at 108.61, which is only 15 pips away now, and you can see it's really pushing up. All right. But still lock me in with 40-some pips of profit there. New Zealand dollar sell. New Zealand dollar, I personally will not sell the New Zealand dollar here for two really big reasons. One is I don't trade New Zealand dollar hardly ever. I just do not trade New Zealand dollar very often. The other reason is this. Even though it's hard to, get a lot out of this, we did take out the highs here by a little bit, a few pips, right? We took out the highs, the swing highs on the hourly here, whatever time frame you like. And we took them out by 6 pips, but we still broke that level. The other reason I wouldn't sell New Zealand dollar right now, personally, just myself, is that I'm short Aussie New Zealand. So I'm basically selling the Australian dollar and buying the New Zealand, hoping that this pair goes down. So that would be, about as contrarian as you could get. Now, could it be called a hedge? Maybe. You can trade one pair against another. But again, that's just my bias. I'm not trying to tell you how to trade. I'm telling you how I trade and hoping that some of the information that I share with you will help you to not make the same mistakes that I made years ago in my own trading. Yeah, good. We have as you can see, if you're in the room, I think we have about 119, 120 people in the room right now. That's pretty darn good for Asian session on a Thursday night. So I'm happy to see everybody here. So we got some notifications. Hey, Bill Huppert. Hey, Dean. Yeah, if you're interested in following a trader, just click on their name, and you can click the little follow button. It's a little plus sign, and you'll get emailed the trades that the trade ideas that they post right away. I think it comes out almost basically instantaneously. Yeah, Yo-Yo. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yeah. All right. Aside from the pairs, oh, I wanted to look at the dollar CAD. I can't leave that out. You might remember I was really trying to get short on the Euro. Let's look at the Euro CAD first. I sold the Euro CAD back here last week and took about 50 pips off. It's hard to believe that little tiny move in the middle of my screen is 50-some pips. But I took 50-some pips off of the Euro CAD short, which was really nice. And I wanted to get short again because of all the chatter out of the Canadian dollar, right? Raising interest rates sooner than expected. Numbers have been good out of Canada. I wanted to get short EuroCAD, and I just could not see myself selling it right at the bottom. And the couple times when it retested, like in this area right here, this was overnight for me. And by the time it was fresh in the morning again, it was down in this area. So I never got short. And then, of course, I'm not gonna sell before a big news event. And of course, the Canadian news came out very, very strong and pushed the EuroCAD down 300 points. So looking at the EuroCAD on the daily, you can see that we bounced off of this longer term support level, moderately longer term back from early to mid-July. And the dollar CAD, of course, looks similar, but even a little bit more blown apart here. The weekly time frame, we're sort of just in free fall. You can see the size of this weekly candle on the dollar CAD down. And granted, we're not even done with the week yet. It's over 300 pips long. We've had a few candles there before that have been that long and some that have been longer, but this is definitely longer than the average candle. So not saying that should control your way of trading, but just based on my experience, I just cannot see selling it yet. So again, I think this goes without saying, but I'm not a billionaire trader yet. But I am okay with, and I recommend you to be okay with, missing some really good trades that you want to get in, that you just really feel like you should get in, and not taking them if you have enough reasons to not get in. So I just did not have enough reasons to get in short on the dollar CAD or Euro CAD, even though I was very, very bullish on the Canadian dollar. I just never got the right entry. And you can see from looking here, I mean, aside from this little blip upwards here that was put in right at the very last day or so of August, you could have basically got in almost anywhere and still be riding the thing down low. So I continue to be very bullish on the Canadian dollar. However, every little bit of my Forex blood, if you will, is telling me that we're due for at least some retracement. So the retracement up on the Euro CAD or dollar CAD might be a good time to get back on the short train. All right. So again, I just took a short in the Euro Pound. I'm selling Euro Aussie. This is probably my least favorite trade. Not because it's down, 9 pips or 10 pips, but because it doesn't match with the direction I'm taking on the Aussie New Zealand or my overall bias with the Australian dollar. Okay. I feel like getting long on the Aussie dollar isn't a bad idea because we did basically come back up to the top here. But contrarian traders would love a price like this. Take a look at the high put in July 27th and the high put in here right around 80.60, 80.65, depending on what broker you have. I mean, selling the Aussie dollar right now you could have a 20 pip stop and know if you're wrong or not. So of course, for traders who have smaller account sizes, you can put a bigger lot size on with a tighter stop and still have the same amount of risk. So if you're risking, say, 1% of your account or a 0.5% of your account, you can put on a lot larger lot size when your stop is up high. I still feel like the Aussie buck is going to push up. The dollar index has been obviously crumbling, and we're still stuffed down way at the bottom, sitting down at 91.46. So one of the things that has saved me the most money over the last several years of my trading, besides my 2 cardinal rules, I think that you all know them. Never move your stops further away if you're losing, and never add to a losing position. Those are my 2 number 1 rules. I just don't ever do those things. Save me so much money. The other one is I try not to play around with these double tops like this anymore if I'm going to be going and buying in the same direction. Now, I will take shorts at these levels if we have divergence in play and try to get a divergence trade on like I did with the euro yen here earlier this week or the end of last week. I forget what it was. So I do take divergence contrarian trades, but I just don't like to buy at the top. I don't buy breakouts anymore. It just saved me so much money. But I will buy a breakout that comes down and retest and continues, like I mentioned over here on the euro dollar, if this plan takes hold. It's all about being patient. Having 2, 3, 4 trades on at a time is more than enough. Gosh. So I'd like to see euro pound roll down. I'd like to see euro Aussie roll down. Aussie New Zealand still in decent profit here, 25 pips or so roughly. Dollar yen, I'm fine with whatever happens with the dollar yen right now. About 40 some pips locked in, about 18, 19 pips to my stop. And if it continues to make lower highs, it'll be in good shape. And if it doesn't, I'm not in any, what do they always say, way, shape, or form interested in buying it. Here's the euro pound starting to push down just a little bit more. I heard a chihuahua. You're funny. No, I don't have any chihuahuas. I do have rat terriers, though. Not too much different. Anyone else selling dollar Swiss? I like that name, Can't See a Thing. Yeah, thanks, Kitschy. I got a sneeze coming up. I will, when I look at EG time frames, they're in an uptrend. Definitely an uptrend, but like Andrew says, if I can hold my sneeze back here, the trend is your friend until the end and bends in the end. And I definitely consider this a mend. And on Tuesday, we had looked at this trend line. I think it was going way back into the corner here, but it was coming up something like this. Something like this. I can draw it somewhat correctly. Oh my goodness. And this rising trend line on the euro pound broke, came up, retested, pushed down, put in lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and that's where I'm trading it now. So again, if you're trading on a daily and weekly time frame, you really have to trade with the trend here and be buying. However, on the weekly time frame, we have a lot of resistance up on this candle that was put in October of last year, right around 92.50, 92.60, 92.56 on my chart. That's where the black line is here. If you remember this black line here, you can see where the black line is here on the daily and the pin bar that we had. And this is currently where we are. So you're totally right on that. It isn't an uptrend. It is a contrarian trade. But I have enough reasons in my mind, at least boiling it down on the 4-hour and especially on the hourly, to look to take a short. And again, it's not just straight technicals for me. I mean, I like to talk through the fundamentals as well. I think that the euro is overbought across most all pairs. And that brings me back, and again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just how I think, but it brings me back to that the thing I was talking about a lot months ago, where you gotta find your bias. And whether you listen to people here on the live streams, or you are on a bunch of other websites, or you're watching bloggers or YouTube, or reading the news, or watching Bloomberg, whatever it might be, you figure out what your bias is. And then I go into the markets, and my bias is that the euro is a little bit overpriced. So I look at all my technical charts, and I try to find potential places where I can be selling the euro, like the euro Aussie trade, the euro pound trade. Right? And I'm not a big fan of the euro dollar and pound dollar. I trade the pound dollar a little bit more, but I'm more of a Aussie dollar, type of trader. And the crosses, euro pound, euro Aussie, that type of thing. But you're exactly right. Not to ramble on too long here, but on that topic, but the euro pound definitely in an uptrend. Exactly. I did have someone ask me, let me get a different chart up here, something that's sort of bare. Let's see, what do I have? Let's use crude. One of the easiest ways, if you're especially new to trading, one of the easiest ways to find the trend is just to use a 200 moving average. So this is the price of crude. If you look at the monthly, there is, at least on this broker, there is no 200, because there isn't 200 monthly candles on this broker. But on the weekly, we're definitely down below the 200. I use the simple moving average. You can use an exponential or whatever, weighted. I use the simple. The daily's below. The 4 hours below. Oop, now it's above. The 4 hours above. Had to let my chart update. The hourly's above. 30 minutes above. 15 minutes above. So as far as the time frame that you're on, obviously every time frame can be dramatically different. So here in crude's a perfect example. We have a decreasing 200 moving average. Basically, the price of crude has been flat, and since the long fall that we had back in 2014, it's catching up now. So we're still in a downtrend, even though the price of crude has been fairly flat. But if you pull it down to a 4 hour, we're starting to pull up a little bit. You pull up to hourly, we're in an uptrend. So it depends on what time frame you look at. This is hard to explain, but don't get too confused on the trend direction on different time frames, because you'll see it's totally up here and totally down there. The longer term chart you look at, the more important the trend direction is. So I always, when I'm looking at a trade that I haven't looked at, or a pair I haven't looked at for a while, like crude on the longer term chart, because I don't trade crude, look at the monthly and then the weekly and the daily and come down and decide where you're at. Hey, can't see a thing, thanks. Hey man, love your stream. I think it's funny that can't see a thing because I'm an eye doctor by trade, so I think that's cool. James 28, what's your stop loss and take profit on euro pound? The euro pound trade, let's pull it up here. My stop is right up here. This is the one that I just placed in real time on the stream, so this wasn't set exactly. But 40 pips is about the biggest stop I put on a euro pound trade on the hourly. You could have this down a little tighter, but that's where my stop is, 92.17, 92.18. The downside target I don't have set. If this pattern continues on the 4 hour, this sort of zigzag pattern going down, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. If this continues to push down, then a pretty apparent target would be just this zone of consolidation here. Maybe around 91.30s and possibly lower lows. So depends how aggressive you want to be on the target for that. Let me pull up another side here. So your target on the euro pound, I think conservatively should be around 91.45, and aggressively could be all the way down to the swing low wick, which is about 91.20. So that would give you a 40 pip stop, 30 pip profit target. So my trades, I always have it greater than 1-to-1. So I'm going to go with this more aggressive target of 91.20. All right. So I'm going to set that right now at 91.20. And a part of my trading strategy that's hard to teach, because there is no real written rule for it, is when do you add to a trade that's going really well and move your profit target and hope to pyramid or step in and potentially build into a larger lot size and let that baby run, because that's been some of my most profitable trades over my trading career here. You know, that's one that I'm interested in possibly doing on the Aussie New Zealand short, just because it is so overextended. Could still go up higher, but it's so overextended. So the Aussie New Zealand, I'd be interested to add more. Euro pound, Euro Aussie, I guess we'll see what happens. See how the market plays out. But this Euro pound to the downside might be a decent trade idea to share and post here as well. Because we know what our risks are. You know, we know exactly what the risk is, and we know where our profit targets are at. You know, pretty clean technical trade with a little bit of fundamentals thrown in there. It's like putting a little hot sauce on your food, spice it up a little bit, little fundies in there. Let's see. Bias, are you a bull or bear, Erebus? Bears sell high, bulls buy low. I'm not sure exactly what you see there, or what you mean by that. Are you a bull or a bear? I guess I'm more of a bear, if that's the simplest, if that's what you mean. I'd rather sell some of the major currency crosses like these than buy, because human nature, people, you know, like to get in on the panic and the crash, and you see it over and over in the stock markets, the slow grind higher, and then when it starts to fall, it falls fast and hard. So I feel like there's more potential for larger pip profits on the downside. Now, something like the dollar Swiss and the euro dollar, they're almost like mirror images of one another. But for just the major currencies like, you know, the pound dollar, dollar yen, I'm more apt to get in bigger trades on the short side. Yo-Yo's got a new pound dollar trade signal. I'll take a look at that. What about price action, Jenny said. I think that might be in regard to Erebus post. Not you, just a way to determine the bias you are teaching. Yeah, I guess I'm not clear exactly on what you're asking. I'm sorry. I don't know if you mean am I a bull or a bear overall in the markets, or in a certain pair? But as of right now, I have 4 trades running, and all 4 of them are in profit. The dollar yen, of course, is up the most because that's been going the longest. Aussie New Zealand's up $200. Euro pound's up 30. The Euro Aussie is just about at break even here with the spreads. 1.6 lots, and it's down $1.29. So now it's at 0. So we'll see what happens. There's another famous streamer always asks you, a bull or a bear? I don't know which one. Jenny says, I have a pending short, and New York filled me at 16335, right around. It's at a 61.8% pullback, 30.2 if you draw fib reverse. Yeah, cool. VDU Bus says a new trade on the Aussie dollar. I sort of like the way the room is set up here with these notifications and how they say who posted it and what's going on. I also like the podcast, of course. And we got some really good new streamers here in the room. Euro Aussie short or long. I like it to the downside. I'll pull it up for you right here. Now, just in case, I'm about to end the stream here. I've been going 50-some minutes already. I think that's long enough. But just in case you tuned in a little bit late, the Euro Aussie sell is probably the one I'm the least excited about. But that's where I'm short, and that's where my stop is, 49.75, 49.76. All right, guys and girls. I am going to sign off for the rest of tonight. I'll be in the chat room a little bit, and I might put the trade idea up in the Euro Pound. I'm going to take a little closer look here. I try to really, the trade ideas aren't always all winners, but they've been doing pretty good lately, and I'd rather give you a few good ones than a bunch that you got to pick through. So I'll leave it all there for now. Be aware of the news that we talked about in the beginning of the stream. Big news out of Great Britain overnight at 3:30 a.m. Central, just about an hour and a half after London Open. And then we have big news out of Canada coming out there. Employment change and unemployment rate as well at 7:30 in the morning. So be aware if you're in one of those trades because you might see some slippage, some gaps, and your stop limits might not be held valid by the broker if there's lower liquidity. So just be safe out there when you're trading, and always remember there's always gonna be another day to trade. Don't risk too much on your trades. Some do 1/4%, some do half, some do 1. If you want to be a consistent, profitable, long-term trader. If I lose all of these trades that are open right now, I'll say, oh boy, that's too bad. Go on to the next. That's just how I do it now. And after you do it for a lot of years, that's how you have to be. Don't get too emotionally attached. Otherwise, you start to trade differently. So I won't waste your time going off on a tangent there, but just know that I'm passionate about helping you succeed. And as you can probably tell, I really try to put my heart into to show you how I like to trade and like to think out loud about my trade ideas and where things are going. So hopefully it helps you out and you can distill it down into your own trade plan and make more profits in the future, and not even make profits, but just not lose as much, save you some money, right? All right, I'll see you all in the near future. Have a great day and happy trading.